Hello, Professor Ramswell. I'm Melanie Standiford, and this is the concept of soft power as an effective strategic deterrent. This is for the class PS 636-T301, Deterring the Enemy. This is a case study. Many of the United States' current policies concerning military force and the polar opposite, soft power, are relatively new and certainly shifting as time unfolds. Now, the original definition of soft power by Harvard professor Joseph Nye may be evolving with President Trump administration's outlook. Certainly many variables accompany each administration, but President Trump has been playing by the rules of a businessman rather than a politician. While this may confuse many, it is not confusing to the man who has dealt shrewdly in business throughout his life. Now, Americans today are at the end of a history wrought with war and physical violence, up to and including attacks on American soil. Now, while most attacks here at home have been of the terroristic nature, the response has generally been dealt with by military force. The American people, its citizens, politicians, and even businessmen and women are not accustomed to leaders such as President Donald Trump, who shake hands and laugh with known executors of violence such as North Korean Kim Jong-un and former KGB actor and current Russian President Vladimir Putin. Nothing about this makes sense to a generation of baby boomers who remember all too clearly fighting in and losing loved ones in Vietnam. None of this makes sense to folks who still remember their grandparents' stories of Korean War, and few who have studied the atrocities of World War I or II can wrap their minds around a world leader and top nation coddling and laughing with the heads of state of any strategically dangerous nation. To the brave men and women who stood together and continue to do so against terrorism, there is a confusion at a local level concerning the how and why the current administration is on one side adamant to build a wall and yet willing to give the appearance, for example, of friendships to known dictators such as Kim Jong-un. Now, there is brilliance in this strategy, and the current administration is not doing this alone. Nations across the world have been exercising soft power brilliantly as well. Recognized as a concept developed in the West, China has learned to harness a tenderness to connect with other nations, especially those in Southeast Asia, in an effort to replicate the obvious positive side effects of soft power. China took lessons from afar in order to join the global mainstream, according to Nye 2005. Now, they are in a race to win areas in Southeast Asia, especially over the United States. And while Southeast Asia is attracted to U.S. pop culture, democratic values, and internationally renowned higher learning, China's influence is mostly economic. Now, that's according to Monroe 2010. And China has too harnessed soft power to affect state actors, Nye 2005, through foreign trade and investments with their shared Asian values. But it is business, period. Xing 2008 explains that the money given to other nations by China as foreign aid is said to be round-tipped, meaning that it is ultimately returned to China as an investment. China has now recognized soft power as an indispensable part of national security, Zhao 2004. The United States is wise to stay engaged. So whether the leader of the United States tweets on social media to connect and identify with people on Twitter, that's real Donald Trump at his Twitter account, or if he says publicly that he is fond of the considered by many murderous leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, according to Lemire and Miller 2018, President Trump is wielding soft power in a unique and by some standards a most impressive way. Seems to have perfected the ability to make friends with enemies. Soft power is an art form. It is a way to manipulate a situation to make it seem like the idea is best for everyone. The key is to be, or appear at least to be, kind. The person or entity most adept at performing soft power will go so far as to make it seem if it was the other power's idea, perhaps. It is a psychological warfare, so to speak, and not every person, let alone a nation collectively, can pull it off. Iran exemplifies a nation which adheres to a delicately balanced soft power, often one which is not understood by the outside world, yet factors culture into its tactical and operational planning. Salmoni and Holzheimer, 2008. This is the case in many Middle East nations. There is a climate of end justifies the means there, as the religion and the state are not separate. Iran prioritizes soft power over hard power through moral, spiritual, and psychological dimensions of statecraft and strategy. That's Nye 2006. Further, as explained by Nye, Iran acts in accord with their own moral compass, not because of failed hard power. Now, Muhammad Taghi Mezbah Yazdi said, "If we are defeated in hard warfare, the afterlife reward will be awaiting us. But defeat in soft warfare means losing worldly and afterlife salvation." That comes from Fulton, 2002. Now, in the world today, most nations have the capability of inflicting severe physical damage on others. The leaders of the United States, as well as other highly developed nations, have this capability. Nations like North Korea have made others nervous for a very long time now. Those leaders who are quite aware of the North Korean leader's willingness to kill his own people know that to kill, or at least to make others fear him, is not beyond his scope of conscience. Therefore, people who are confused when they see President Trump sending Elton John records and appearing to hang out with a previously perceived evil man, their first inclination is to assume that Trump, too, is evil. Politics and opinions aside, these may be obvious. This is soft power at its finest, as were the long private conversations between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Putin made pancakes and drank vodka with Chinese leader Xi Jinping not long after, according to Cole 2018. Do you think either were in the mood for pancakes and vodka? Maybe. More likely they were exercising soft power as well. As Payne 1996 explains, deterrence is too valuable a tool to adopt a defeatist attitude. The United States has arguably stopped more than one atrocity through history by the sheer mention of consequences, even if the specific consequences were never mentioned. It is by this reasoning the soft power toward deterring the enemy is by far the most valuable, and even most often used. Now, some leaders take it a little further than others do, but ultimately it is there for the taking and for the saving leaders, and for saving leaders from being forced to only have hard power to rely on. Sun Tzu identified the successful use of thrust for deterrence and coercion as the acme of skill. That's Payne, 1996. Effective deterrence policies are extremely advantageous, preventing provocations before they occur and eliminating the need to wage war to force a challenger to behave properly. Payne, 1996 again. If it starts early, it may even start with a handshake with a dictator or pancakes with a known murdering leader. This is my take on soft power and the importance of knowing how to handle other people and deterring problems before they become big enough to require hard power. I'm Melanie Standiford.